So now that we've seen the Gnosia give themselves up, what's going to happen next? Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So, that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 8 of Gnosia. So last time we had a very interesting turnout, because we had one member of the crew, one of the new members, this Chinibio dude, refusing to join the deliberations or even come out of his room. And then we had this dolphin character. I don't remember the names right now. Being super cutesy and just supportive of everyone and just, kind of the best. And interestingly enough, both of the Gnosia from the last run, the last cycle, kind of gave themselves up. One of them was Comet, I believe it was, who gave herself up by just, not being accurate to the character. It's like, just kind of like, did or said something, I don't remember exactly what it was, but gave herself away completely. And then at the end, after they finally managed to convince the Chinibio to come out of his room, he's just like, oh, by the way, I'm the Gnosia. You should have just voted me to be frozen in the first place. And it kind of like ended there, though it showed the board, like showing all the crew members and showed the two as Gnosia. So I assume that meant it, they did go with it and everything. But that is interesting. So one of them gave themselves up unintentionally. The other one just chose to do it. But why would he choose to give himself up? Why would he willingly lose? And this kind of goes into this like theory I've been having, and just generally speaking, what I've been noticing about a lot of the characters who are the Gnosia in each time loop is that they do retain personality traits. Because while infected and, having been, I guess you could kind of say, controlled, possessed by the Gnosia and everything, they retain personality traits and memories and stuff, and that helps them, fit in. It helps them, infiltrate. But all in all, there's little things that the Gnosia, basically puppeting them, may get wrong, and those little things are what you have to look out for. But they almost kind of take on their host's traits while puppeting them.
and they'll act in the same way, like naturally. And sometimes we've seen cases where the Gnosia are actually kind of nice in that regard. Um, we've seen them actually be like pretty nice people and show that they're not all bad just because they're infected with this parasite. But then we also have the fact that they've also now shown to be willing to give themselves up. And again, I think it's because the Gnosia is like taking on the personality of this Chinibio guy. It's doing what he would do. Which you would think there would be some kind of inner conflict there between like the Gnosia fighting like to control and devour and kill and everything, and the personality of the host trying to go against that. But there's probably a lot of factors that go into that, like the strength of will of the person who's being puppeted and how strong their core like ideologies and feelings and actions would be. Because if this guy, like unaffected, would naturally be this strongly antisocial and would be this strongly like self-sacrificing, then the Gnosia, like taking that all on, can't fight against it enough, is the idea, I guess. And I don't know, like, 100% how all that works and how all of that would align, but maybe we'll get discussions on it. I don't know. Maybe when Yuri becomes a Gnosia, because I still am convinced that's going to happen. Maybe when and if that happens, we'll like get a deeper look into what it means to be infected and how that affects the characters, the people, or how it affects the Gnosia who is, taking that on. I'm very, very curious. And I said, I think last episode or the one before, I was thinking of taking a break at some point to kind of just like rest and everything and come back to it with a fresh mind and all again. I'm still thinking about it. I still don't know if it's going to happen for sure. I don't know when it will happen, if it does. We'll just have to kind of take it as we go. But I guess for now, we'll just see how things turn out. I'm very curious about this series, and if I do need to take a break, I do plan hopefully to come back to it as soon as possible. It'll just be a temporary break. But we're not doing it right now. That much is for sure. And it's going to depend on other things too. We'll see. I'll keep you updated. And we'll tackle that if and when we need to. But for the time being, I think we should get into this reaction, check it out, and hope for the best. And just as another reminder, I know I had the video earlier in the little segment earlier in the video, but I'm wanting to remind people of this as much as I can still, that we do have a Patreon now. You get early access to all reactions. You can get to vote on exclusive polls in the future. You can choose things for me to react to in the future. All kinds of great benefits. The Patreon page is linked in the description below. You can find detailed explanations of all the tiers It's completely optional. You don't have to do it if you're unable to or you just don't want to. But it does help me out. This is my full-time job, and it's just it's very helpful for general expenses as well as helping things for the get things for the channels. So if you're able to, please consider it. Again, you can check out the link down below for all kinds of information and kind of go from there. But for the time being, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below. Why am I acting like this is the end of a video? I don't know. I'm mixed up right now. I don't know. I have a lot on my mind. I'll just leave it at that. But let me know your thoughts. I guess I don't know. Let's get today's reaction and hope for the best. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Afterthoughts, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. What the fuck? That just... Okay. From starting this loop, like already a couple days into it, to completely refusing to freeze Xia Ming and just, like, not freeze anyone for one day. Then choosing to freeze everyone the next day to make up for it. Except for the two who are supposed to be human, or, again, just not Gnosia. Which, again, Yuri kept saying, like, oh, they have to be human, right? They have to be human because they were on the ship and they're not Gnosia. It could be something else. We know there's a character who's already an android, not a human. But still, it's like, suddenly in this loop, we have Remnen. I'm trying to get the names down still. We have Remnen being scared of Kakrushka, who, according to him, is like giving him weird looks and stuff. And it's just like he just doesn't like the vibe she gives or whatever. And then, and at first it seems like, okay, just a weird little thing. And it actually kind of seems like Kakrushka might like him. And then we see in the holodeck that Remnen has like this trauma response to the flower crown. Like an extreme trauma response. To the point where he like kind of goes nuts over it. And we get a glimpse of like some kind of like horrific thing going on in his past. Which we later find out is fucking horrific, torturous slavery. Jesus fuck. Like, that alone, I wasn't necessarily prepared for. I wasn't, like, expecting. But then, it's like, after everybody gets frozen and everything, they start to play the credits, and then it just, like freaks out. The credits start, like, breaking. And it goes back into that timeline. That timeline is not over. Yuri is woken up from the cold sleep and finds that Remnen is like trying to warn them about Kakrushka killing and violently killing everyone. And we can very clearly see through that like chase scene that is like suddenly takes a like real horror turn. Like actually like very alien. And it's like it takes like this horrific turn, and Kukrushka becomes this horror villain chasing them down. We see like on top of the ones who were already frozen, we saw that were killed in the pods. We saw some people did manage to escape, but were killed by being let out of airlocks. And we even see one character get violently, like actively murdered. Well, not violently, but like sent out into the airlock. Though Setsu does get violently murdered. When Kukrushka jams the pipe into into their pod, and there's all the blood and everything. It's like, yeah, we didn't need to see Setsu's bloodied, destroyed face, but we know what happened. And then they're being chased down, and it's like just them left, and they're trying to get out through an escape pod, but are stopped by Kukrushka, who Remnen says reminds him of his former master, his slave master. Although there's clearly a difference, and he's like kind of claiming that it is kind of her without actually being her. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? And she's so creepy and horrifying, and it's like, I genuinely don't know what to think. It's so shocking and intense. It's like, and then it's very much clear that Yuri and Remnen are killed as well. And so Yuri wakes up again in the next loop and is a Gnosia, being woken up by SQ, who's also a Gnosia. And it's just like, this is something I've been wanting. Yuri, I've been wanting to see Yuri as a Gnosia. I've been wanting to see that run, that loop. And so it's like we go from an episode that suddenly turns into horror. Really good horror, by the way, too. As a fan of horror, like, this, like, really did it for me. And I think it's because of how sudden it was. And there were clues, there were little things that were, like, gearing us up for it. But it's like, when the credits first started to play, I'm, like, thinking, like, wait a minute, what? It's like, okay, there's got to be an after credits thing. And I even looked in the, I paused it and went to the video, and it's like, oh yeah, there's still more here. And so I was going to skip past the credits, but when I was doing so, I noticed that the credits kind of seemed to, like, be messing up, and it... well, at first I noticed when I skipped ahead, it's like, oh, wait, no, the credits are, like really short, because I didn't skip that far ahead the first time. So I'm looking, what's going on? So I went back to try and get it to the right timing, and that's when I noticed the credits messed up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And so I went back to that, and it's like, oh... And then there was like a new credit sequence at the end. Let me see. Let me see if I can find this here. Gnosia anime. I'll just type that in, because that should bring me to, like, probably the Wikipedia or whatnot. Wikipedia usually lists the songs, so... The opening theme song is Bake no Kawa, performed by Maisendes, featuring Kobo Kaneru and so on and so forth. The first ending theme, from episodes 2 to 7, is Lu Percent Who Percent, performed by Ling Tosite. Oh, that was Ling Tosite Sigure? I probably mispronounced that. I apologize. Maybe it's Tosite Sigure. Okay. The second ending theme is from episode 8 onward, so this is just the new ending. And that's Floor Killer by Umeda Cypher. So that is just a new ending. There's just a new ending from episode 8 onward. For those who don't know who Ling Tosite, or Tosite, again, however it's pronounced, Sigure... Oh, according to this, it's Ling Toshite Shigure, I think. They're a Japanese rock group, and they've done anime openings and all before. I'm trying to find like exact examples. Psychopaths the movie apparently is one example, but that's not what I would have thought of. Oh, apparently they did the main theme for the Japanese dub of Spider-Man: Far From Home. That's fascinating. Um, okay, I'm not finding it on the Wikipedia. Here we go. Oh yeah, the big one is obviously Unravel from Tokyo Ghoul. There's also Signal from 91 Days. Oh yeah, they did do the opening for 91 Days. That's right. Oh, I've heard of the anime Pet, but I've never seen it. They did the opening for that too. Psychopaths opening 1 and Psychopaths 2. So they've done multiple Psychopaths openings. My Hero Academia season 7. I think I'm seeing here. So yeah, the big one is obviously Tokyo Ghoul. Like everybody knows Unravel. Oh, I guess that's specifically TK from Ling Toshite Shigure. So it's TK specifically, the front man who did Unravel and stuff. Okay. But either way, we know of this group. Um but yeah, new endings, it's just everything like just completely turned this around. This was such a monumental like switch up of an episode, because it's like everything up to now kind of had a formula. Everything up to now kind of like went along with things. And while there were changes because of all the new members, last episode introduced the last new crew members. And so now that the first 7 episodes introduced all the crew members, episode 8 is able to switch things up and show things in a completely different way, while also revealing some new stuff about different crew members, showing new parts of their personality, and just allowing us to really understand them more, while also just suddenly becoming a horror series. um like I compared this to Among Us, and of course I've also compared to John Carpenter's The Thing, which, Among Us itself is also inspired by, which, is horror. But it's like I didn't expect this series to go that deep into horror very suddenly. So that really caught me off guard. And again, in the best way. Like that was a very pleasant surprise, but it was a surprise. I was like in shock. I was so like caught off guard by that. It got so intense and genuinely kind of scary. Like Kukrushka suddenly became horrifying. Um but yeah, that was wild. That was so good though. And now again, we're finally getting Yuri getting to be a Gnosia. After we were introduced to all the different crew members, all the different characters, we're finally entering our first loop with Yuri as a Gnosia, which again is something I wanted to see, and it makes sense that it's going to be after this point, and so this is going to be so fascinating. Now here's the question. Yuri's going to be a Gnosia, but I assume are they going to still know about everything? Are they still going to... I assume they're going to have all the memories. I assume they're going to have all of the knowledge. How are they going to play this, and how easily are they going to be caught, if they are caught? That would be fascinating too, if our first loop with Yuri as a Gnosia is successful, like for the Gnosia. Also, we don't know how many Gnosia there are. We just know there's at least 2, because we just know of Yuri and SQ. There could be more, because the last loop had 4 of them. There were 4 Gnosia in total. So, yeah, it's just, I'm so fascinated by this. This is such a a wild turn. But I did say we were going to rank all the characters based off of like first impression. I might do another ranking at like maybe the end of the series. But I want to do a ranking now. So let me go over to another screen here real quick. Here we go. It cuts me off at the head a little bit, but that's fine. So we have a tier list here. I found a couple tier lists. This one has like cute chibi designs for all the characters, so I thought I'd go with that. Just for the shits and giggles. So yeah, we're gonna rank them. We have our tier list from S to D. I'm not gonna put anyone in F right now just because it's still early. Again, this is a first impressions ranking of everyone. So the worst of them will be in D. Maybe there will be Fs by the end, but I don't know. Now we're going to start with Yuri, and I think Yuri is a good kind of baseline character, so I'm going to put them in B. Because I feel like kind of right in the middle is a good place for Yuri to be, because honestly, I like their character, but they don't give much yet. And I think having the Gnosia turn is going to help with that. But for now, they haven't really given us too much. They're not blank slate. They're absolutely not blank slate. Like, I guess a good example would be Yu Narukami from Persona 4. If you've seen the Persona 4 anime, Yu is very blank slate as a character. He has like nothing to him. And part of the reason for that is because in the game of Persona 4, you add character traits as you go along and as you interact with characters and stuff. And so you is meant to be like your character, is meant to be you as the player. But unfortunately, kind of made him a very boring character in the anime adaptation, even though the anime otherwise is fantastic. But Yuri is definitely better than that. Like, I would put you in a C tier comparatively. Yuri is better than that. But still, compared to other characters, not the most interesting. Not the worst, by any means, but not the most interesting. Setsu. Setsu, I would place also in B tier. Again, it's just right now we're starting to get a little bit more personality and character with them. This episode actually gives us a bit with showing their frustration and everything over the fact that they didn't freeze Sha Ming. I actually really liked that scene because it gave us a little more into Setsu as a character. And that definitely started to raise them up for me. So Setsu, I think, could definitely get higher as the series goes for me. SQ is a character who I liked right off the bat because I just enjoy her personality. Her personality is just really fun to me. I kind of like those kind of crazy, high energy, peppy characters. But I wouldn't put her above A tier. She's not an S for me. Not by any means. Rakio is our first D tier. Rakio kind of pisses me off. And I know that's the point. I know we're going to learn more about Rakio and probably have a lot more with them in terms of character and depth and whatnot. But Rakio kind of pisses me off at this point in the series. They're kind of a dick. And they're a very self-righteous dick, too. Which I'm just not a fan of. I think it was especially clear. Was it 1 or 2 episodes ago when Yuri was like correct about who the Gnosia were, but Rakio turned everyone against them because Rakio just had to be a bitch. Also, I think Rakio was one of the Gnosia, if I remember right. But like Rakio, like I don't know. It's just I didn't like that, and it. Even though, again, if Rakio was a Gnosia, it makes sense, but still, you know what I mean. Next we have, oh God, trying to remember everyone's name. I got most of them down. I actually do have most of the names down at this point, but give me a quick second here. I think it's Gina. I want to make sure, you know? Should be Gina. Yeah. Okay, so Gina is a character who's kind of like very quiet, very shy, very cutesy and nice. Um, there was like a loop where she had like a massive crush on Yuri, I believe, and that was interesting. But a very B tier character for me. I wouldn't put Gina anywhere above that. Shigamichi is a C. Shigamichi can be very annoying. He can just be way too much, but he's not as bad as some other characters. So I'm gonna keep him C right now. He does have some interesting facets to his character that I like, but I can't put him above a C. And then we have, oh my God, hold on, I have the list up still. Stella, Stella, you're Stella, right? Let me make sure. Yes, especially because I remember. I think most of the other ones' names. Yuriko is the next one. Yeah. Okay. Yuriko is another one I have trouble remembering. I think Gina, Stella, and Yuriko are the three that I have the most trouble with. Everyone else, I think I pretty much got down. Stella, I did Stella also have a crush on Yuri in one of the loops? But Stella's an android representation of the ship itself, and but has her own personality, has her own desires. Stella is like her own character, but she was originally made as an android to kind of bring the ship into things as well. Um, I like Stella. Stella's an A tier for me. I definitely want to see more of her character developed and grow. I think that would be cool. Yuriko is D tier. Yuriko's a kind of a piece of shit. I don't dislike Yuriko as much as Rakio. Rakio just rubs me the wrong way. But Yuriko is very confrontational and is constantly argumentative against everyone, no matter what, and is also very dismissive. I don't like her. Again, might grow on me as the series progresses, but as of now, I don't like Yuriko. Comet S tier, and not just because sexy, not just because titties, though the titties are nice. Comet is again kind of like SQ, personality wise, the very peppy, very high energy, very excitable type of character is very much my kind of character type that I tend to like. Um, she's also got a great design. I just really enjoy her design. I think it's really fun. Again, outside of the titties. um, and so far, she's just like really like she had an instant impression on me. Like even before we found out anything at the end of the episode where she's first introduced at the very end alongside oh my God, I had your name down. Why the fuck I had your name and now I'm forgetting because I'm trying to remember other characters' names. Cheapy. Chippy. I don't know. Chippy. When they're both introduced at the end of the one episode, it's like instantly Comet like left an impression on me instantly. Chippy, not as much. The cat interested me, but not as much. But Comet was like just Comet instantly left an impression on me. The next episode where we get to know about her and everything and see more, and getting to learn about how life is on her planet with the parasitic mold, and just how people are raised from birth there by the mold pretty much. It's like just easily my favorite like backstory so far, though that could easily change. Um, and speaking of Chippy, I liked that Chippy is like our like outside of Setsu, our first introduction to the fact that a Gnosia can be genuinely kind. And I that really gives me points for Chippy, but otherwise not really had an impact. Outside of that first episode, hasn't really done much of anything or hasn't really had much like focus. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. I think he could grow a lot on me though. Jonas, I hope grows a lot on me because he is a very blatant D tier for me, and I'm actually gonna put him between Yuriko and Rakio. On top of just being a sexist asshole, he just he has this air about him that makes him feel very unlikable. And I can't explain it other than, I guess the best way I can describe it is he feels like an absolute fuckboy. That's the only way I could describe. I can't even explain exactly what I mean by that, but that is just the vibe I get from him. Kakrushka. After this episode especially, Kakrushka, just for the fascination and the horror vibes, S tier. No, not A, S. Because I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if Kakrushka is going to, like, remain a villain throughout the rest of this series. But even if she is, I am for it. Like, I don't know. It's just, like, that is instantly, like, everything to me. I like Comet more still, but Kakrushka won massive points with this episode for me. Prior to this episode, I probably would have put Kakrushka down in B tier. Like, probably between Setsu and Yuri. But because of this episode, S tier. That's how much of an impact that had on me. Then we have Otome. Otome is also S tier, between Comet and Kakrushka, because the fucking cutest thing ever. Oh my god, I love her so much. She is so adorable. She is so cutesy. She is so nice. Her laughing at Kakrushka in this episode was so funny. Also, her teeth. I noticed that too. I don't know if we really saw those much in the last episode, but like when she was laughing and stuff, we got a good view of her teeth, and it's like, oh my god, those teeth are kind of horrifying. It's like, I know dolphins can be fucking terrifying. Like, I get it. Dolphins are scary as fuck. Dolphins, like, look cute and everything. It's like, oh, you go to SeaWorld, see the dolphins, have fun. They're cute. They're performing for fish. Dolphins can be horrifying. They can also be very violent. Like, surprisingly violent. But when she was laughing with her teeth, it kind of reminded me of an orca, actually. And orca are horrifically scary, so definitely gave me those vibes. This episode did a lot for Remnen for me as well. Prior to this, Remnen just being kind of like a shy boy and everything probably would have been C or B tier for me. It's like, I can dig the shy boy archetype, but it's not like big for me compared to other things. But this episode giving him like this horrifically tragic backstory and making him like connected to Kakrushka so much, it raised him to an A tier for me. I think I'm gonna put him between SQ and oh my god, I'm gonna get these down. I swear I am. Although if I do take a break, that might hurt things. Stella. That might, like, hurt my retention a little bit, if I'm being honest, if I do end up taking a break from this. But yeah, I think I'll put Remnen right there for now. And then we have Sha Ming. So last episode, Sha Ming was just kind of this standoffish Genebio hiding in his room and being just a pain in the ass. This episode, he actually takes part in deliberations, and he's just kind of a loser, and I kind of love that. I kind of love that he's just a loser, that he just kind of sucks. But he sucks in a way that doesn't make him unlikable. It actually does the opposite. And I've experienced characters like this in various other media. I think one of my favorite examples is Yoki from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yoki just sucks. He's just a little bitch of a character, but he's so funny. He's so funny. He's so somehow charming, and I just kind of love him. He's nowhere near my favorite character, of course, but I kind of love Yoki because he's such a little pissant. He's such a little baby bitch. And Sha Ming is kind of like that for me after this episode. It's like, he sucks. He sucks. There's no other way to put it. But he sucks in a way that makes him kind of fun. I kind of like how dumb he is. And I love that we got that, like, we got that in this episode because it's like, obviously this is playing on the archetype of someone who pretends to be cool and tries to act like this cool, suave, put together kind of person, and in reality is just a whiny little baby ass bitch. But I kind of dig it. I can't put him in S tier, obviously. He's A tier for me, and he's the bottom of A tier. But I have to put him in A tier. I kind of think he deserves it. He's that fun for me. Now, like I said, this is obviously not where my rankings are going to be at the end of the series. For one, I think Setsu and Yuri are absolutely going to rise into at least A tier. Um, and I don't know for a lot of the other characters. Some of the characters I love right now might end up becoming a little too much for me, or I might just find out, like, we might find out new stuff about them that just like kind of makes them less interesting to me. It's always kind of up in the air. But I think for now, this is my initial rankings. As of episode 8, as of all of the characters having been introduced to us, this is where I would rank them. Comet is my favorite because it's just like everything about her personality is just perfect for me. She is like just the perfect personality. I love her backstory. She's got a great design and titties. You can't deny the titties, right? And my least favorite character is Rakio because honestly, just fuck Rakio. Rakio just sucks so bad. I really don't like them. Every time in an episode when Yuri or someone else is saying something and Rakio just interjects to be like this self-assured, intellectual piece of shit, it's just like I groan so hard inside. I just get so annoyed. Also, I have checked out a little bit of the dub from I think just episode 1. I've heard Rakio's voice. I think I was told Rakio's voice actor in the dub is non-binary, and they do a great job. It is absolutely not the voice you would expect based on the Japanese voice, and I kind of love that. I kind of love that the voice doesn't seem to entirely match the character design or the Japanese voice. I feel like it actually really fits the character, though. I think it's a really good performance. And all the other characters sound pretty much exactly, the ones I've heard, sound pretty much exactly as you would expect them to. Yuri, Setsu, they sound like what you would think they would. I should check out, like, all of them, though. Like, I would like to hear Otame's dub voice and whatnot. I should also maybe find out who the dub VAs are. But anyway, let me go back to the other screen real quick. There we are. Yeah, I really loved this episode because of all the new stuff it added. It developed a bunch of characters really well. And it became, like, surprisingly really good horror at the end. Not that I didn't think this series could delve into something like that. I just wasn't expecting it there. And I'm very excited to learn more about Kukrushka and Remnin and honestly all of the others. I definitely want to learn more. The character work and the developments and the backstories are definitely one of the more interesting aspects of this. Because otherwise, it's basically just the same thing over and over. It's basically just, loops of the same kind of thing. Just who's the Gnosia this time? Who's the engineer? Who's the angel? And it's just like, you have to add in these character developments, these depths, these different personalities to make it more interesting. And God, is it doing well. Like, you guys who have played the game, like, tell me in the comments, how, like, accurate is this to the game? Don't give me spoilers or anything. But, like, how accurately is this done in terms of, like, the character developments and all? I think you've told me before that, like, there's, like, profiles you can read and stuff while playing, like, earlier than certain things are, I guess, maybe revealed. And you learn about, like, the names of planets and stuff that aren't necessarily, at least currently, revealed in the anime. I'm just curious as to, like, how the development and reveals of information are done comparative to the anime. Just, again, no spoilers, please. because I definitely do not want to know things ahead of time. Especially for Kukrushka right now, do not spoil anything for me about Kukrushka. Like, I do not want to know anything about whatever the fuck is going on with her. I want to experience that as it happens. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.